In the headlines, police arrest 3 suspects over murder of housewife, 6 children in Kano. NDLEA nabbs wanted drug kingpin 12 years after killing 3 officers. Medical practitioners urge government support and monitoring after kidney dialysis cost slashed by 80%. And on the foreign scene, Somalia's president visited Las Anod amid Somaliland tensions. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. Kano State Police Command has announced the arrest of 3 principal suspects believed to be behind the Dorayi Chiranchi family killings. Residents of the community endured a sleepless night of fear and sorrow after an entire household was wiped out in one of the state's most shocking attacks. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports.
With support from community members, security operatives carried out a sting operation between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., successfully apprehending the suspects. Those arrested include 23-year-old Umar Awalu, 40-year-old Ishaku Yakubu, and 21-year-old Yakubu Abdulaziz. Police say Umar Awalu, a nephew of the deceased, confessed to the crime and admitted the syndicate's involvement in other killings, including the murder and burning of 2 housewives at Tudunyola quarters.
Wannan yaro da muka kama shi ainihin yaron da matar take kiran sunansa wato Umar.
After the first arrest, we were able to apprehend the main suspect, the deceased nephew Umar, whose name she was heard calling. He was found in possession of her mobile phone. The ancient city of Kano awoke to tragedy on Saturday when assailants stormed the home of Haruna Bashir in Dorayi Chiranchi. His wife, 33-year-old Islamia teacher Fatima Abubakar, and 6 of their children were brutally killed. The victims include 17-year-old Maimuna, 16-year-old Aisha, 13-year-old Bashir, 10-year-old Abubakar, 7-year-old Farouk, and Abdusalam, who was barely 1.5 years old. Residents say the attackers broke into the residence using dangerous weapons. In a shocking twist, the youngest child was reportedly thrown into an open well within the compound. We have never experienced this kind of murder before. The community has been cooperating with the police, and I urge residents to understand that security begins with them before the police can step in. Some of the crimes in this area involve people from within, while Sabon Titi, being a busy hub for travelers, also poses challenges. We have tried our best to put in additional security measures. Residents describe the incident as one of the most horrifying tragedies in recent times in Kano. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
1 person was killed and 2 others injured in the early hours of Saturday when gunmen attacked Kaswandenkeli village in Barikiladi local government area of Plateau State, in what police described as a retaliatory attack linked to the rustling of 102 cows in neighboring Riom local government area. The attack, which occurred around 2:30 a.m., followed the earlier rustling of 102 cattle from Dansokoto in Ganawuri district of Riom local government area, an incident that has heightened tension along the Barikin-Ladi-Riom-Jos south axis. Residents said the assailant stormed at the community and opened fire on houses, killing 1 person on the spot and leaving 2 others with gunshot wounds. The injured victims were rushed to the Jos University Teaching Hospital for medical treatment, while the corpse of the deceased was deposited at the General Hospital morgue in Barikin-Ladi. For autopsy, police sources confirmed the incident, saying a team led by the Divisional Police Officer DPO of Barikin-Ladi responded immediately after receiving a distress call. And now the Gombe state government says political will, strict adherence to the rule of law, and the adoption of modern animal husbandry practices are critical to ending farmer-herder conflict in Nigeria. While inaugurating a white paper implementation committee aimed at addressing outdated grazing practices and protecting the environment as well as farming livelihoods. The state governor, Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya, insisted that the traditional system of animal rearing can no longer be sustained. Hassan Lawankoli reports.
Governor Yahaya, who made this known during the formal inauguration of a high-level white paper implementation committee on grazing reserves, forest and game reserves, and cattle routes, explained that the committee is expected to translate the government policies into concrete and enforceable actions. According to the governor, the committee's inauguration followed the work of an earlier assessment committee established to examine challenges associated with grazing reserves, forest and game reserves, as well as cattle rules, and to propose practical and sustainable solutions.
If I say it is criminal for people that are in authority to allow such to happen, I think I am not wrong by saying so, because nearly a quarter of the, well, a quarter already gone, of the 21st century gone, we don't have any reason whatsoever to allow our people to still maintain the traditional way, of maintaining our livestock, and also go out of our ways in order, to satisfy maybe the greedy needs of some of the elites amongst us.
Governor Inuwa Yahaya added that restoring lost and encroached grazing reserves and cattle routes remain central to protecting the livelihood of both farmers and herders. With over 80% of Gombe State's population engaged in crop and animal production, the governor said the government has a responsibility to safeguard lives, property, and economic productivity.
When the cows, cattle, livestock are allowed to do the normal thing without infringing on their reserves or grazing or whatever, there is tendency that they can produce milk, they will grow fat, it will give, in fact, employment and so many things. So the economy is going to be for good.
Some of the cattle routes, it has been encouraged, but some houses, some public facilities, some villages, you understand? So now we are trying to see how we can, find a solution without creating problem to those communities, because, in this kind of situation, we are in political era, so we have to work in tandem with the political strategies by trying to have some town halls meeting where necessary in terms of this encouragement.
The committee is expected to engage key stakeholders and roll out practical strategies for the effective implementation of the white paper, in line with the state government's commitment to improve security, food sufficiency, and sustainable development. The inauguration of the White Paper Implementation Committee marks another step by the Gombe State government toward lasting peace, enhanced security, and sustainable agricultural development. Hassan Lawankoli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
At least 2 people were killed and several others injured on Friday morning when suspected bandits attacked Tugay town in Musawa local government area of Katsina State. Residents said the assailant stormed the community around 7 a.m., firing sporadically and forcing people to flee for safety. Victims who sustained gunshot wounds are currently receiving medical treatment. The attack occurred despite ongoing peace agreements between Musawa local government local authorities and bandit groups operating in the area. Community leaders had hoped the deals would curb violence and enable displaced residents to return home. Security forces were alerted after the attackers withdrew, but residents questioned the effectiveness of the peace arrangement, noting that rural communities in Katsina State remain highly vulnerable to attacks. And now operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested a long-wanted drug kingpin, Lekon Jimo, also known as Kamo, 12 years after his alleged involvement in the killing of 3 NDLEA officers. Jimo was arrested in Owode, Ogun State, following intelligence-led operations. A search of his hideout led to the recovery of 69 kilograms of skunk, NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi said the suspect had been on the agency's wanted list since June 2014 after allegedly mobilizing armed thugs to attack officers during an arrest attempt. Babafemi added that in August 2023, NDLEA operatives recovered 1,922 kilograms of skunk from Jimo's Adodo residence, which was later forfeited to the federal government after the evaded arrest. He said further NDLEA operations led to the arrest of other suspects and the seizure of large quantities of illicit drugs, including skunk, tramadol, and codeine syrup in Edo, Abuja, Lagos, Enugu, and Delta states. And now the Nigerian Air Force has killed over 40 terrorists in a coordinated airstrikes at Azir and Musaram areas of Borno state, disrupting planned attacks and supporting ground troops. According to a statement by NAF spokesman, Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, the strikes were carried out on January 15th and 16th by the air component of Operation Hatankai, based on actionable intelligence and in close coordination with troops in contact. He said NAF aircraft responded to a distress call at Azir, engaging terrorists attempting to withdraw and later neutralizing others trying to regroup under free cover through precision strikes. Reacting, the chief of the air staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, said the operation highlighted the effectiveness of intelligence-led air power and assured sustained pressure on terrorist groups. Azir and Musaram in Damboa local government area remain major hotspots for Boko Haram and ISWAP activities. And now the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has dismissed the impeachment notice issued against him by the Rivers State House of Assembly, describing it as a love letter. The House of Assembly had recently issued the notice against the governor and his deputy, Professor,
the governor of Rivers State,
over
the young and
gross misconduct by the Fubara administration. Despite an interim injunction by the Rivers State High Court halting the impeachment process, the Assembly on Friday claimed that the state chief judge had received and acknowledged the impeachment notice. Addressing supporters at the grand finale of the week-long 2026 MPA Port Harcourt International Polo Tournament, Governor Fubara played down the development, saying he was merely landed a love letter. He assured residents that the political situation would not distract his administration from delivering good governance, stressing that his focus remains on supporting initiatives and individuals committed to the progress of Rivers State.
the young and dynamic, extremely intelligent.
You know, whatever I say these days is always taken out of context. So I don't even know what to say. But what is important is I'm here, I'm still the governor of Rivers State, and will continue to do what we have promised the Rivers people that we will do. And I'm really happy that you had your tournament for 1 week and the president boldly telling the world that there was no incident. It shows that we are working and Rivers State is safe.
This is the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Medical practitioners urge government support and monitoring after kidney dialysis cost slashed by 80%. More news when we return. To stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a recap of our major stories again. Police arrest 3 suspects over murder of a housewife, 6 children in Kano. NDLEA nabbs wanted drug kingpin 12 years after killing 3 officers. Now moving on to more stories. It has been a year since the federal government approved an 80% reduction on kidney dialysis in all federal hospitals. But questions remain about the real impact of the policy on Nigerians living with kidney disease. Speaking with medical practitioners in Lagos, they agree the initiative approved by President Bola Tinubu was intended to drastically cut dialysis costs and improve access to life-saving treatment. However, lack of monitoring and inadequate support for dialysis professionals is limiting the policy's effectiveness. The report.
In 2024, the federal government announced a major relief for Nigerians battling kidney disease, an 80% reduction on dialysis treatment. The policy aimed to reduce the cost of each dialysis session from 50,000 naira to 12,000 naira, offering hope to thousands of patients who often require multiple treatments per week. Implementation was set across 6 geopolitical zones in selected federal medical institutions and officially launched in January 2025 at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi State. Speaking with health practitioners in Lagos, many noted that not all designated hospitals have enough dialysis machines. Those with machines often lack trained personnel, and the absence of government monitoring and support has hindered the program's success.
I can say that is just mercenary, because the main fact that some hospitals that is government hospitals doesn't even have dialysis machine. They don't even have the center for dialysis. Even those ones that have it, either the machine is not functioning well or that there's not adequate power supply. And the government that does that, saying that they are giving 80%, did they follow it up? They don't monitor it, whether they are doing it or not. Because if they don't follow up, even if they have the equipment for it, they will turn it to individual use. They will not abide with what the government says because nobody is monitoring them.
Like the impact, the 80% that reduction, it is not even working because most people like they are going to for private, so indirectly it's not even working. Because even in the government sector, government are still charging money for it. So the 80% that the government did is not even working at all.
As kidney disease cases rise in Nigeria, the success or failure of the 80% subsidy will determine the survival and quality of life of thousands of patients. For many, the policy is not delivering relief. Patients continue to struggle under poor funding and implementation challenges.
I don't think there's any positive impact that has been added to Nigerians for this 80% reduction. Because if the people are going to private hospitals to get dialysis and the government is not working, so what is the essence of the 80% reduction? So in Nigeria, it's not adding any value to us. So Mr. President needs to do more on health issues.
The President went ahead to say that he has reduced 80% of kidney dialysis. And every day, there are a lot of things that are going on in this country that are increase the risk of kidney issues.
The federal government maintains that the dialysis subsidy is part of a broader effort to improve access to affordable healthcare. However, for patients who rely on regular treatment, consistency, transparency, and adequate support at designated centers are crucial for the initiative to truly save lives. The issue, experts say, is not just about announcing healthcare policies, but ensuring they are fully implemented, properly funded, and supported with the necessary tools and personnel. As Nigerians continue to monitor the kidney dialysis subsidy, attention now turns to how the federal government addresses concerns around access, transparency, and capacity at the centers.
Moving on, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has filed a 3-count criminal charge against M.assacre, SAN, over alleged fraud linked to a London property. In the charge filed at the Abuja High Court, the ICPC accused Ozekeme of receiving a property at 79 Rundle Avenue, London, in August 2021, allegedly from one Shani Tali, an act it said constitutes a felony under the ICPC Act. The commission also alleged that the senior lawyer forged and used a Nigerian passport bearing Shani Tali's name to support claims of ownership of the property. ICPC said the offences are punishable under relevant provisions of the Corrupt Practices Act and the Penal Code of the FCT. A brand new Lexus 350 en route to its owner was involved in a head-on collision with a passenger-laden vehicle along Ikom Road in the Cross River State. Eyewitnesses described the impact as severe, with both vehicles sustaining significant damage. Several passengers in the other vehicle were reportedly injured, some of whom were taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. The condition of the Lexus driver remains unknown. The accident has raised concerns about road safety on Ikom Road, a key route in the region. Authorities are investigating the cause of the crash and have urged the drivers to exercise caution, particularly at night. The new Lexus, valued at millions of naira, is likely a total loss. The federal government has expressed condolences to the governments and people of South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe following the tragic loss of lives in recent devastating floods. As of Friday, more than 100 people had reportedly died, with thousands displaced across parts of southern Africa after weeks of torrential rainfall that cut off entire communities. Weather services have issued further alerts, raising fears of additional flooding. In a statement on Sunday in Abuja, Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Kemibi Ebienfa commiserated with affected countries over the immense human and material losses, including damaged roads and bridges, disrupted agricultural production, and displaced populations. The statement also noted secondary humanitarian impact, such as food insecurity, disease outbreaks, and increased vulnerability of women, children, and other at-risk groups. Nigeria called for strengthened regional cooperation, early warning systems, climate adaptation strategies, and sustained international support to mitigate the effects of climate-related disasters. In business, residents of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, have expressed relief over the recent drop in the price of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, commonly known as cooking gas. Speaking to the news agency of Nigeria, NAN, on Sunday in Abuja, residents urged the federal government to sustain the reduction, saying it will ease the financial burden on households. 1 kilogram of cooking gas now sells for between 1,080 naira and 1,400 naira across FCT outlets, with NIPCO offering the lowest price at 1,080 naira per kilogram. Victoria Ahaneko, a civil servant, described the reduction as a positive development, noting its potential benefits for both consumers and the economy. She called for further price cuts, saying many Nigerians still find cooking gas unaffordable and have resorted to costly alternatives like charcoal. Similarly, businesswoman Mary Olobeyo welcomed the drop but emphasized the need for sustainable pricing, pointing out that transportation, storage, and retail cost also affect the final price. Teacher Aisha Abubakar expressed concern over frequent price fluctuations, stressing that Nigerians desire a stable and sustained reduction. And away from Nigeria, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud visited Las Anod on Friday, marking the first time a Somali head of state has entered the city in over 40 years. Las Anod, the provincial capital of Sul, is claimed by the breakaway region of Somaliland. Somalia's government regained control of the city in 2023 after deadly clashes with Somaliland forces and pro-Mogadishu's militias, ending Somaliland's hold since 2007. The visit underscores Mogadishu's renewed diplomatic focus on the northeast state, which include Sul, Sanag, and Kan territories, also claimed by Somaliland. The trip comes amid heightened tensions following Israel's official recognition of Somaliland, a move strongly opposed by Mogadishu and much of the international community. And with that, we have come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Maria Midris. Thank you for watching.